The Fifine K037 wireless lav mic set. Is this the best budget lapel mic in 2019? Coming in at around £35 or $40 US, the Fifine K037 is an ultra low budget wireless lav mic set that in many ways is the perfect setup for new filmmakers. The K037 comes with a plug and play transmitter and receiver that automatically pair with each other. As well as this, you have the omnidirectional sub-miniature condenser lapel microphone. Now with all that said, let's look at the good bits of the Fifine K037. Now first up in the good bits is how easy this thing is to use. It is as close as the plug and play wireless mic set as you're likely to find. It takes AA and AAA batteries in the transmitter and receiver respectively, and with a one button setup, they automatically pair with each other, so there's no real technical hurdles in getting these to be used. And in many ways, that's perfect as these are really aimed at new filmmakers. Now next up is the transmission distance, and it is actually incredibly good for a budget mic set. We got around 20 meters before we noticed any kind of dropouts, and like with any UHF transmitter and receiver, line of sight is best. When you start putting solid walls in between you and the receiver, then you start noticing more dropouts. But for a budget mic set that costs less than £40, I'm genuinely surprised at how good this transmission distance really is. Now any microphone review wouldn't be complete with actually being able to hear the thing itself, so let's plug in the K037 and see how it sounds. Now the first thing you're going to notice with this microphone on is the tone of it, the EQ. And it is very middly. It's going to be noticeably different from the microphones that we had on before. Now that middly sound isn't necessarily a bad thing. It does mean it's very good at isolating the human voice from background noises and also cutting through your mixes. But it does have to be said that it's not a very flattering sound. It doesn't sound very pretty. There's not much top end going on, not much bass, but then that can be said for all lav microphones. They all have that same quality. Now, a certain amount of that could be fixed in post, but not a huge amount. So let's keep this microphone on and look at the bad bits of the K037. The first bad point is a very obvious one, and that is how high the signal to noise ratio is. In essence, all that means is this setup is very noisy. You'll hear it, there's a lot of audible hiss, interference on the line. Now for a budget setup, that is kind of understandable. Corners do have to be cut to keep the price point low. And in fairness, it is totally usable a sound. It is just worth bearing in mind how much noise is present with this setup. Now you may notice a huge difference in the sound, and that's because before I moved on with the review, I wanted to apply some really simple post-production to see what the best of this microphone could be, what it could truly achieve. Now all I've done is applied some simple compression, EQ and noise reduction, and that's in the hope that it shows you the full potential of this mic setup. I wanted to show you the K037 at its best, and to show you what could be achieved with some simple tweaks in post. But now that's done, let's switch back to the main microphones and carry on with the review. Now next up in the bad points is the build quality. They are an all plastic construction and feel incredibly budget in hand. Now in fairness, that isn't always a reflection on a piece of kit's longevity, but absolutely worth bearing in mind if you do purchase the K037. Now also worth bearing in mind is the fact that this isn't designed for filmmakers or even cameras at all. By the looks of it, the K037 was initially designed for live PA work. It has a 1/4 inch jack out of the receiver and has this kind of kitsch microphone headset to make you look like you're in a 90s pop band. But what Fifine has done is realise that there's a gap in the market for wireless mic sets for new filmmakers, and as such have made some adaptations to the K037 to make it suitable for cameras. You've got the 1/4 inch to 3.5mm jack adapter to help you plug into any DSLR. The problem with that is that when you do have it connected to a DSLR, it does look a little bit handmade. It looks a little bit DIY and a little bit like it's going to break as it hangs off the side of the camera. It's a shame and easily rectified by Fifine with a simple cold shoe mount or 1/4 inch thread adapter on the bottom of the receiver. So in summary, the Fifine K037 is far from a perfect setup. There are some key shortcomings that are noticeable that Fifine have had to make to keep the price point so low. But to make a comparison to something like a Sennheiser setup would be incredibly unfair. This costs around 10% of what the branded alternative would be, and as such, needs to be looked at in its own merits. So for a new filmmaker, YouTuber, or someone on an ultra low budget looking for their first wireless mic set, this represents a great option. Sure, it does have those key shortcomings, it is far from perfect, but for £35, this could have a rightful place in any new filmmaker's kit bag. That's been my grab and go review of the Fifine K037. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.